Well, today I wanted to share some of the Abbey monastic community is going to go on a little adventure this week, and so I wanted to share a little bit about the background of this adventure. Venerable Jigme, Venerable Yeshi, Venerable Chuni, and myself are leaving tomorrow. Venerable Chuni has already gone her way to Escondido, California, to join in the 18th Buddhist Monastic, Western Buddhist Monastic Gathering at the Deer Park Monastery, which is one of the monasteries that Thich Nhat Hanh founded. And we've been doing this, well, Venerable's been going for 18 years. She's missed a few of them, and the Abbey monastic community, we take turns, have been going, I think, since Venerable Tarpa went with Venerable Chudra in 2006. Yeah, I think the year before I went, 2006. So we take turns getting to go. And so what's so important and great about this gathering? First of all, it's unprecedented because for centuries, the Buddhists all over, in Asia, due to geographic distance, due to language barriers, due to cultural differences, they seldom saw one another. They lived very isolated in their own cultures and their own religious practices, and so it's really quite unprecedented that when Buddhism came to the West, a lot of the Westerners went to Asia and Vietnam and Sri Lanka, Burma, China. They trained, they ordained, and they came back to their home country to practice. And so in the United States right now, I think we have a representation in monasticism of all, if not most, of the Buddhist Vinaya traditions. And so this gathering is an opportunity, although that we have a lot of different traditions, the monastic community in the United States is still quite small. And so 18 years ago, some of the monastics that had come back to the US to practice and train and to start Dharma centers and live in community decided it would be great and supportive of each other to get together and have these yearly gatherings. And so it's been 18 years now. It usually is held in the fall and gives us an opportunity to network, to share, to develop Dharma friends, and to cultivate a deep amount of respect and support for what each of us is trying to do here in the West. In a society that's pretty complicated and is quite a bit different than the simple monastic lifestyle that we're all trying to aspire to live. And so how it goes is each year the gathering is hosted by a different monastery. One year it was actually at Vajrapani, which is like a retreat center. And there are a few monasteries in the United States that have existed long enough, first of all, to have a monastic community that's mature and large enough to be able to host a gathering of, it's usually between 35 and 50 people, and also that has the facilities, has the kitchen, has the sleeping, has the whole sort of physical logistics of the space to be able to support not only its own resident community, but also this influx of 40 people to live with them for a week. And then also there's a theme each year that the gathering will focus on. There are some presentations done by a few of the monastics, and then there are group discussions. We practice together, a lot of just personal friendship developing, networking, panel discussions, and teachings. This year the theme is how to develop and sustain Bodhi resolve with joy in challenging times. Or in sort of in our tradition is how to develop a deep commitment to awakening, to become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings when the times are tough. Now, the different monastic traditions will have a slightly different definition of Bodhi resolve, but that's the one that I'm sort of taking in my heart and sort of translating in my own mind. And so we go to these, so there'll be the panel discussions, as I said, and some presentations. Venerable Chuni is making a presentation at the gathering this year for the Abbey. When we go there, we live within the structure and the guidelines of the host monastery, including their meals, kind of the deportment or the protocol, because there are monks and nuns at these monasteries, and they usually live separately. We don't know at Deer Park how much they actually eat together, share together, work together, but they do as far as their living spaces are separate. However, everybody who's coming to the gathering, we've got both monks and nuns, so we will live within their guidelines as far as gender separation, but we also kind of mingle together within the group gathering. We'll see how that unfolds. And it's very unique for each monastery on how specific those guidelines are. Meals practice, if we can practice with them, where we can walk, sort of what the parameters are as guests. And it's a wonderful experience to be in a community that is kind of been growing and is mature on many, many levels. It's great to see the way the community functions. I find it fascinating to see the way how it's laid out. Some of these monasteries are built from scratch, and some of them are actually founded in these places where they had existing structures. And so how they remodeled and how they utilized the existing structures and how they grow the community. I found it really fascinating. I have been at Shasta Abbey, which is in the Zodo Zen tradition, and then 2 years ago I went to the City of 10,000 Buddhas, which was in the Chinese Chan tradition, and then this year we're going to Deer Park, which is in the Vietnamese Zen tradition. All very different personalities, very much influenced by the founders. You know, just who kind of held the vision and then how it was built. You can really feel the influence of the personality and the practice of the founders, which is quite lovely. And it's great to connect with the monastics that are living in the West. And most of us come from the United States. I think every once in a while we'll have somebody come from Europe or from, there's quite a few come from Canada. I don't know if we've had any from other places. Australia. Comes from Australia and South America. So in the West, generally speaking, and it's great to meet them, to see how they're doing, you know, where their challenges are, how they see the benefits of the way in which they're practicing, where they're practicing, how they're practicing. A number of the monastics in the West live alone. They live in city life, they live in the suburbs, they live in the country, really removed from things. Some of them live in communities of 2 or 3, and then there are others more like Sravasti Abbey, which live in larger monastic communities. But to see how they adapt, how they grow, how they practice, how they try to really integrate the precepts and their monastic training into their lives. And it's unique and remarkable, and to see the courage and to see the growth in the monastics as the years go on. Attendees can be ordained 1 year or 35 years, so you've got this beautiful combination of wisdom from the elders and then this great kind of fresh enthusiasm for those who have been ordained, you know, just recently. There's kind of a nice combination. And I think Venerable, one of the reasons why she sends us out there is because, you know, we have it really quite wonderful here. And I think she likes to get her community out of its comfort zone, out of things that are familiar and things that we know and things that we're so used to doing, and putting us into an environment where we have to kind of be flexible and be open-minded and go with the flow and take instructions and training from other communities and other elders. I think she really wants us to grow in our larger perspective with what's out there, as well as sort of then to kind of have a different perspective on how we train, how we practice, how we live in community, and then to see in a broader perspective on how the monastic community of Western Buddhist monks and nuns actually lives in the United States and the West, and to really integrate it and to I think just to grow our flexibility and our open-heartedness. And then to bring back to the community after we go and to attend these gatherings, we come back and then we share with the rest of the community on what we learned and some of our insights, some of the things that we found unusual or challenging, some of the things we really responded to. I remember when we went to City of 10,000 Buddhas, they turned a basketball gymnasium into their chanting hall. And that's where we had the first experience of serpentine walking and doing the beautiful prostrations of what we now do here at the Abbey. So we got our first sort of chanting transmission from some Chinese bhikshunis during that gathering on what we now have Venerable implemented into Shavasti Abbey's weekly chanting. So there's a lot of beautiful influences, and I'm looking forward to it. So we'll let you know when we come back.